there are two options to choose from once you elect to contribute to your 401k plan. That can be either traditional 401k or Roth 401k. To maximize a hard-earned dollar and legally minimize taxes, which one you choose depends on. I'm just an average guy on YouTube. This is not meant to be a tax advice or investment advice. Please consult with your tax specialist and your financial advisor to better plan for your future. Before I start talking about which of the two options is suitable for you, let's talk about the contribution limit for 2025. Each year, the government increased the contribution limit to adjust for inflation. So for 2025, the contribution limit is $23,500. And the catch-up contribution, if you are 50 years and older, is an additional $7,500. But new for 2025, at the age between 60 and 63, you can contribute additional $11,250 instead of the $7,500. I know what you're thinking. Because my target audience is low to middle class, you are probably thinking you will never reach that max contribution limit. But trust me when I say this. There will be time, whether it's this year or years from now or a decade from now, if you continue to learn and continue to grow and you continue to earn more and reduce your expenses at the same time, you can reach that maximum contribution limit. The $23,500 contribution limit is applicable to both traditional 401k and Roth 401k. And you can also choose both. You don't have to choose one or the other. But if you do have both has to be combined and must not exceed $23,500. So what's the difference between the two? Traditional 401k is considered a tax-deferred account. That means contribution going in is not taxed. Your tax is deferred until you withdraw at the age of 59 and a half. That's when you get taxed as an ordinary income, at an ordinary income rate. Roth 401k is considered to be a tax-sheltered and a tax-exempt retirement account. That's because your money going in, your contribution, is after tax, and the withdrawal, the distribution, during the retirement is tax-free. As far as when you can withdraw from traditional 401k, you just have to be at 59 and a half or older. But for Roth 401k, you need to be 59 and a half or older, and it has been 5 years since you first contribute to Roth 401k. For the traditional 401k, you have the RMD, required minimum distribution, because after all, the government has allowed you to contribute tax-free, and the government is not going to allow you to keep that money tax-free. At some point, the government's going to want its piece. So that is generally at age 73 is when you have the RMD. However, because tax law changes, and depending on how old you are, you may want to research what the RMD requirement is so you're up to date on that aspect of it. But for the Roth 401k, thanks to the Secure Act in 2022, which goes into effect in 2024, you are not required to have the required minimum distribution. So you can keep your growth money in there as long as you want. That's because the government already taxed you. It already has its piece. Whether you elect to contribute to traditional 401k or Roth 401k, traditionally your employer's contribution, your employer's match, goes to the traditional 401k bucket. However, with Secure Act 2.0, the government gives your employer and your plan the option of contributing the match into the Roth 401k bucket as well. But it is not required, and your company may not elect to do that yet. So check with your HR and benefit department. If your employer allows you to choose their employer contribution portion, whether to go to traditional 401k or Roth 401k, keep in mind if you choose the employer contribution to go into the Roth 401k, that match portion will be taxed the year that is contributed. Because after all, the Roth 401k is post-tax. keep that in mind. But the growth and the distribution part of that piece will be tax-free during your retirement. So that is the overview, the difference between traditional 401k and Roth 401k. So now the question is, which one of the two is better suited for you? And the answer, like always on my channel, I never tell you which one is best without going over the why behind it. That depends on you. If you're in a high marginal tax bracket, 24% or higher for the federal piece, because you got to add the state to it as well, then picking the traditional 401k will allow you to reduce the AGI, adjusted gross income, so you have less taxable income for your current year. But you're going to have to pay taxes on its way out, and you don't know what that tax will be. For my target audience, low to middle class, whose marginal tax rate might be at 22%, 12%, or 10%, it might be advantageous to look into a Roth 401k, because even though you get taxed on the contribution this year, you don't get taxed when you take the money out. So if your portfolio grows to over $1 million, $1.5 million, $1.7 million, whatever, that's all yours. Plus, what's the point of trying to save a 10%, a 12%, or a 22% on that contribution when you can save taxes on the $1 million or more portfolio after 59.5? So that is the general rule of thumb in terms of which option is better suited for you. However, if you get really deep into how taxes work and you have years where your income is really high and you want to reduce the adjusted gross income to make sure you qualify for a certain government program or a certain deduction or certain credits, then it might be advantageous to look into traditional 401k, because that reduces your adjusted gross income, which reduces your tax liability for the year. And if you're in that low to middle class, where you typically get tax refund anyway, that's kind of a sign to you that you don't have that much tax liability today. So why not take advantage of a tax-free growth and a tax-free distribution by going to the Roth 401k side? This is why in the previous video, I talked about investing in yourself by dedicating one non-negotiable hour to learn something new or sharpen your skill. And if taxes is new to you, then dedicating some of that time to learn how taxes work today and how taxes work during retirement will allow you to maximize a hard-earned dollar and legally minimize taxes. I'm just an average guy on YouTube. This is not meant to be a tax advice or investment advice. Please consult with your tax specialist and your financial advisor to better plan for your future. But now you have something to think about and something to research on your own to decide which one works best for you today and for you into the future.